Okay, so this is an interesting problem. It's a little different. The book has a mistake on it, and that's going to happen. There are some typos in the book and some mistakes. So hopefully I can explain you through them so that it'll work. I'm not going to get caught up in the simplification, and you'll see that in a minute. And it turns out that the answer is going to be the same answer as what's in the book, but they've written it wrong. Okay, so I'm just telling you that. So I'll write it correctly here. Okay. So you have the composition f compose g of x. Okay, and they give us the functions f of x and g of x. So if we're doing this composition, then f compose, well, yeah, I'll just use that, of x. I could write the other notation, is going to equal the square root of, now remember you're taking g of x and putting it in for x. So it's going to be the square root of 3 minus x plus 2. That is what the book did not write. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, now let's think about, so that's book error. Book error on that. And I'm not going to worry about trying to simplify that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the domain, because that's what the question asks. So it says, find the domain. Well, you'd have to know the domain of g of x, first of all, right? Okay, so for that, we have to say 3 minus x, the radicand part here, the stuff under the radical, that's got to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so then we get 3, now let me do that a little differently. We can solve that, that's just an inequality. Negative x is greater than or equal to negative 3. But when we divide by negative 1 on both sides, you're going to get x is less than or equal to 3. So remember that from inequality work. Okay, this then is the restriction on g of x. Okay, now let's go back and see what that means in the overall function then. So right here, if I'm taking that function and I'm putting in numbers that are less than or equal to 3, I'm following the domain I've already established, I'm always going to get out a positive number here, right? So we set it up so that you could take the square root of the whatever x is according to our restriction. If it's a number less than 3, you're going to be able to take the square root of that, okay? But no matter what, that square root's going to be positive. Okay. So then this overall function here says I got a positive number, and I'm adding 2 to it. Well, that's just going to be positive, right? So there's no way I'm going to get a number that's negative. If I follow this restriction, there's no way I'm going to get a negative number under that radical. So I don't have to worry about trying to find another restriction on that because I already know I'm going to have a positive number under the radical. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I wish they wouldn't have typed it wrong in the book. The answer is going to be then the original restriction that we have. And so to write that in the interval notation. Okay, so domain of f of g of x is going to be from negative infinity to 3 with a square bracket on it. So it might bother you a little bit, this problem, because we don't like it when there are errors in the book, and I understand that. I don't like it either. And I'm going to do some more verification just to make sure I'm not leading you astray. But I think you'll be able to see where their error is, and unfortunately they carried it out. So the answer, though, is correct. Okay, and that's our answer. That's the domain, and there we go.